The difference between the Porter 5 forces and the core competences approach is this. The 5 forces ask you to look externally to which are the most attractive industries. You should invest in those industries where the 5 forces are favourable. The core competences approach looks internally to what you are best at. You should only do those activities that you have an advantage in. There might be attractive industries to enter, but unless you have a competitive advantage in those industries, you should stay put, because you can always be outcompeted by other players. Even in the most profitable industry, there will still be losers. The two approaches are not entirely opposed, of course. You can combine the 5 forces and core competences approaches in a logical sequence. First, work out which industries are most attractive. Then, work out in which of the most attractive industries you have the strongest competitive advantage. It's a bit like scissors. You need 2 blades to cut. But scissors typically have one blade sharper than the other. There are real trade-offs between the 2 positions. Chief executives have limited time and limited skills. A chief executive who believed in a 5 forces approach would spend more of his or her time thinking about how to consolidate the industry, perhaps by mergers and takeovers. He or she would be talking a lot to investment bankers and competitors about possible deals. On the other hand, a chief executive who believed in a core competence approach would spend more of their time internally, talking to the people who are the basis of the company's core competence. For a supermarket, that might be the buyers or the human resource specialists or the property experts. It would be hard for a chief executive to find the time to work adequately with both the investment bankers and or his or her key people inside. Chief executives have to decide which blade will cut sharpest for them, the 5 forces or core competences. It's rarely possible to have it both ways. The key debate at the end of the core competences chapter gives a hint at what cuts sharpest on average. Generally, the specific core competences of companies account for a greater proportion of the variation in profit between companies than what industry you're in. But this varies between industries, with some industries being much more bunched together in terms of their profitability than others. Where most of the firms in an industry have a similar level of profitability, the 5 forces are cutting sharpest. Where firms in an industry have a wide range of profitabilities, like in the computer industry we looked at earlier, then firm-specific core competences explain more of the performance. The question for any chief executive then is, which matters most in his or her particular industry, 5 forces or core competences? They have to work it out and divide their time between investment bankers and internal staff accordingly. The question I'm going to leave you with is a related one. In what kinds of industries do you think the performance of firms is mostly determined by industry factors, so that most firms perform the same? And in what kinds of industries do you think the profitability of firms is determined more by specific competences, so that there is a wide range of performance? Okay? So again, in what kinds of industries is performance mostly determined by industry factors, and in what kinds of industries is performance most determined by firm-specific competences?